Do you think we could exist in a world without national anthems?
It'd be worth a try.
Anybody believe that we could live in a world without national anthems?
Dwi'n fan mawr o anthem, chwaith nes i glywed Siôn Jobbins, mae wedi trafod tipyn ar hyn o ddiweddar, a wedyn trafod ar Radio 4, Siôn Jobbins on Radio 4 discussing the anthem, because he raised some issues and quite a lot of backlash, because it was suggested that he had said that people in Wales, Welsh speakers, non-Welsh speakers, English people, internationals, whatever, shouldn't sing the anthem unless, well, they spoke Welsh. That wasn't the point he was making at all. He said the anthem ends with o bydde di'r heniaeth barhau, let the language thrive, in diwer. That he said people shouldn't sing that line without actually understanding it and believing it. But he made an interesting point. I know where you're coming from, Ellen, not only musically, you know more about that than me, they're possibly all the same musically as well. But there is something a bit, look at us, these are our borders, and so many anthems had to do with domineering other countries as well, and putting that stake, even putting that flag in the ground. But showing me the point I hadn't thought of before, the Welsh anthem doesn't talk about imperialism, it doesn't talk about war or bettering other people, and strangely enough, it isn't very religious either, although considering the time it was written. So, in some ways, I don't know about other anthems, but perhaps it's nice that our anthem is quite a peaceful anthem.
Okay, we're discussing national anthems here. Do'n ni trafod anthemau genedlaethol. Croeso rhywun ymuno?
O ma anthem cenedlaethol Cymru. Dwi'n meindio ni honna de Africa, ond mae o'n ofnadwy o sexist, yn dydi? Dyna fydden ni'n gweud.
Sexist?
Mae hen wlad fy nhadau.
Oh. Diddorol. Mae'r anthem genedlaethol yn sexist yfan.
Wel, mae'n bosib. Wel, mae hen wlad o mamau. Ie. Falle allan ni newid o ddigon hael mewn sganion, tydi? Dwi'n meddwl dwi'n cytuno efo gwion, dwi'n meddwl bod mae'n bosib bod yn anthem ni'n golygu mwy ni achos bod ni wedi'n gormesu a bod hon yn rhyw fath o adlewyrchiad o'n hunaniaeth ni a'n cred ni'n ni'n hunain yn wyneb y gormes sydd wedi bod arno ni ers blynyddoedd. Yn hytrach na bod yn anthem imperialaidd lle da ni'n gorfodi'n hunain ar bobl eraill, mae hi jyst yn rhyw fath o dim can brotest ond yn fynegiant grymus o bod ni'n dal yma, bod ni yma o hyd felly. Wel, wrach sa yma o hyd yn anthem reit dda i Gymru hefyd.
Felly, mae eisiau newid yn anthem genedlaethol o bosib?
Dwi yn licio bod yna anthema. Dwi'n meddwl bod yna dim teimlo gwell na cyn y rygbi, sefyll fyny a blwyddio canu. Mae mam o hyn dweud bod ni'n dychryn yr tîm arall yn canu yn yr stadiwm y Millennium.
Do we need to change our national anthem then? That's what we're discussing on the Talkaoke table. Please come and join.
I think we need a Welsh haka.
Haka? What would it look like?
Oedd Bethesda hefo haka.
Okay.
Achos oedd yna boi o Stela Newydd yn byw yn Bethesda, a nathon nhw chwarae y Caerdydd yn Bethesda, ac oedd y hogiau Caerdydd tua 3 gwaith mwy na hogiau Bethesda, a nathon nhw neud haka, a wedyn colli.
I think we all need to see the Bethesda haka.
Definitely. But just going back to that Eurovision Song Contest idea, maybe you could have like a rolling anthem, so that every year you had a new contest. What would be this year's anthem for Wales? So it stayed up to date. It didn't have the problems of the sexism or whatever, and it could talk about whatever Wales's current celebrations were, rather than talking about past glories or whatever.
Okay. Interesting discussion whether the current national anthem is too sexist or too imperialist. Do we need to change it on a yearly basis in a Eurovision-style competition?
Cytuno, oedd bwynt da iawn am y ffaith bod yn sôn am famau. A'r ffaith bod yn sôn am feirdd a chantor. Mae unrhyw anthem yn anochel yn mynd i gael rhai syniadau allan. Ond label yw nid label, ond ffordd o ddatgan hunaniaeth. Hynny yw, Mikey, I was interested. Sorry, it's easy to ask questions than to air opinions, but the English national anthem, it's to do with royalty. It's to do with that sort of thing. How do you feel about that anthem?
Do we have a new table member? Croeso ti Amina, you're very welcome to join.
I mean, I was actually at the Olympics during the Super Saturday, and I have to say I enjoyed it quite a lot. But when they presented the medals and everyone stood up to sing God Save the Queen, I didn't want to sing it because I don't believe in God. And to be honest, I believe the Queen exists, but I don't believe in monarchy. So I didn't want to sing that, and to me it doesn't represent me or my friends and family either. So I don't think it's a very good anthem. It represents the ruling party really, and a ruling class, and I just think it's about time we had a more up-to-date anthem. Be it an English anthem or a British anthem, I think that we do need to move on a little bit and celebrate other things that's good about our countries.
Do you think the Queen approves of the anthem?
To be honest, she looks a bit embarrassed during the Olympics, isn't she? She's like, she's like, I declare these games open. And then that was it. That was it. She didn't say anything more. She was just like, don't look at me.
It's like she's here.
That wasn't her big moment in the Olympics, was it? As we know, she likes to fly
With Daniel Craig.
gracefully.
Not only the anthem, but the fact that the monarchy had such a central role in the whole, I can imagine a lot of English people being unhappy. Yet again, what we were told by the media, by the BBC, was that it really unified Britain, that the Olympics really unified us all of us, and especially, I suppose, the English people. But was that true? I wasn't there. We watched it through the skewered glass of the BBC. But did you actually, experience this unification and this? Oh, we're all in this together.
No.
Sorry, Mikey. That was not good. Should have gone to you first. I feel really
Did anybody here go to the
about
Olympics at all?
I think we have the reason why the Olympics and the Queen were linked. So obviously was because of the Jubilee, and I think the timing was on purpose.
Oh, very cynical. Did anybody here attend the Olympics at all?
Yeah, I was there. No, it was great. There's a bit like Christmas or Valentine's Day where you really hate it beforehand. Then when it actually comes, you've got no choice but to just go along with it and enjoy it for what it is. So, and that was especially in East London, the Olympics really annoyed a lot of people because they promised so much. And, especially as an artist working in East London, they said, we're going to re-enliven the art scene, we're going to get lots of small businesses work and stuff like that. But none of that happened. All the contracts went to big businesses. There was like a complete whiteout of any of the culture of East London, and it became this corporate festival. So it annoyed a lot of people. Got really annoyed, and they weren't able to enjoy the Olympics. I felt like that, but then I just thought, it's such a big event, I've just got to enjoy it for what it is.
Excellent. Well, we've got a new table member, so let's do a quick introduction. Hi, I'm Sharon.
Hello, Gwion.
Mikey.
Sharon, we're talking about the Olympics at the moment. Gwion wanted to come in.
Well, just to agree with Mikey, I'm going to do it in Welsh. Just o ran yn y Felin Heli, where I live, the Olympic torch, that trwy'r pentre, we barely saw the torch. You had to be quick to recognise the person carrying the torch. Achos oedd holl lorries yma. I'm not the first to say this, ond Samsung, Coca-Cola, pwy bynnag. Oedd e'n dor calonnus, a deud y gwir. A oedd y plant yn gweld hyn hefyd, ac oedd un o'r plant yn sylwi, pam dad bod lori Coca-Cola yn arwain y fflam? Yn yw.
Pwy arall wylodd y fflam Olympaidd? Did anybody else experience the Olympic torch?
I saw it actually where we're sitting now. They came up the main street here. Yes, Gwion's right. There was a huge lorry. I think it was it Vodafone or some telephone company, and then Coca-Cola, and then something else. And then after all this palaver, there was a little runner with a little torch, and then there was some more corporate stuff, So it showed in a kind of very visual and very, plain way the priorities of this so-called all-encompassing British festival.
Do Do you not think it was an opportunity for every part of the UK to experience the Olympics that the flame came through each village?
Yes, I don't disagree with that, but we're talking about the corporate nature of events such as this, and they become too much, basically. I suppose there is the problem of money, and and then money is the root of all evil, they say. But
Okay.
I suppose could they have done it with less money? Have a smaller festival, concentrating on things that do matter, which is the sport itself.
Okay. So chi'n meddwl dyle'r Olympics di cael ei wneud efo lot llai o arian?
Yn bendant.
Okay.
Mi oedd yr cyllideb, dwi'n yn cofio faint oedd o 5 biliwn a ddyfynu rhyw 60 biliwn, a gnef yn poeni. A beth sy'n rhyfedd ydy pa mae cyllidebau cyhoeddus na mynd i fyny fel la. Yn sydd i reit, mae gennyn nhw bres. Mae yna rhyw gist o bres i dalu mae pethau yna mwy o sydyn, lle mae nhw'n dweud, o na, dos e'n bres un o'r llall, ond sydd i reit, pan mae'r cyllidebau yna mynd i fyny, mae yna bres yn ymddangos o'r le.
Ie. So, ble ydych chi'n meddwl mae'r arian yma di mynd nawr ta? Hello! Hey! Pwy, be? Fi? Helium? Shall I do the Talkaoke on helium? Illa wedyn. Daniel, you're going to join the table. The Talkaoke table. Ardderchog, mae gennym ni aelod newydd o'r bwrdd.
Helo, fi di Daniel.
Whip round o enwau.
Shwmai, Gwion. Daniel.
Oh, that was not funny the second time.
Mikey.
Fantastic. We are wrapped up in wires and also talking about whether the Olympics was too corporate and stole too much money. But what else do we think the Olympics could have been better spent on then? Anybody?
Well, I think it's good to have a sporting event, but I do think it just shows, and I think in a way it's a fair reflection of our society that is dominated by large corporations. In 1948 London did the Olympics on zero budget because no one had any money after the war, and they managed to do it fine, and there was no corporate sponsorship, no sponsorship of any kind, and the athletes stayed in army barracks, I believe. Everything was fine. They had a great time, great Olympics. I think it was the last time they had a gold medal for sculpture in that Olympics as well. But anyway, that's beside the point. The point is, we don't need necessarily this, but that's what our world is like these days. That's the reality of our world, that it's dominated by big corporations. Just look at them down the high street. JD, Boots, Republic, Pontio.
DJ Link. So, okay, well, in that case, it raises the question, do we need to put money into sport at all? Sangen, rhoi pres mewn i?
Wel, dwi'n bod ti'n gweld gyda'r chreuon dwi yma fel rugby pêl-droed, mae pawb gyda sponsor rhyw fath. Felly, os oedd gan un person sponsor, mae person arall eisiau cael sponsor i gallu cystadlu yn erbyn y pobl yna gyda digon o arian, ti angen arian i cystadlu. Felly, dyna lle mae'r corporate sponsor dwi'n mewn wedyn, a mae snowballio. A dim ffordd fed y tîm peidio cael sponsor rwan a gallu cystadlu'r un lefel a'r tîmoedd mawr fel Man United. Fel gan nhw'n sponsor anferth. Wel, yr unig tîm sydd ddim gyda sponsor fel yna ydy Barcelona. As maen nhw'n UNICEF, gyda nhw'n lle sponsor. Ond
Ond agos angen y pres yn nhw mwyn cystadlu ar llwyfan rhyngwladol?
Wel, mae o'r un fath o bob agwedd arall yn fywyd. Mae'r cysylltiad rhwng y gymuned a beth sy'n digwydd yn gyffredinol yn gwanhau ac yn lleihau. Mae'r gemau Olympaidd yn amlwg yn enghraifft o hynny. Fel oedd Meiki'n deud, dim cysylltiad cymunedol o gwbl rhwng Dwyrain, Llundain a'r gemau sydd yn cael eu cynnal ar eu patch nhw. Ond mae'n wir mewn pob peth arall yn tydi. Ac eto, da chi eisiau rhyw fath o gydbwysedd rhwng y ddau. Falle, dwi'n yn gwybod digon am y peth, ond ffordd mae clwb Abertawe o bosib yn cael ei redeg, mae hwnna'n taro fi, bod nhw'n chwaraewyr tramod, wrth gwrs, mae hwnna'n rhan o fywyd ar rhan o'r gêm erbyn hyn. Ond dwi'n cael y teimlad bod clwb cefnogwyr Abertawe a'r bwrdd sy'n rheoli glwb Abertawe fel tasan nhw'n agosach at y bobl na lot o glybiau eraill. Felly bod fi yn anghywir, dwi'n gwybod digon am y peth, ond felly bod yna rhyw fath o gydbwysedd rhwng cysylltiad cymunedol efo'r clwb a safon y chwaraewyr a safon y gema yn y gyngrau'r gyntaf yn y Premiership.
Dyfan yn sôn am safon y chwaraewyr a'r links efo cymuned. Dyfan was just speaking about Swansea Football Club and their strength being due to their strong base in the community, I think.
Na, fi'n credu mae Abertawe yw canmol yn yw. Fi yn fan o Abertawe, felly fi roed yng nghardiau ar y bwrdd. I was born in Swansea and I do support the team, so that's where I'm coming from. But maen nhw'n corporate hefyd yn yr ystyr, mae gyda nhw cwmni betio ar eu crysau. Mae'r cadeirydd wedi arwen y clwb yn arbennig o dda, a maen nhw wedi gwneud cyndwrniadau ariannol arbennig o dda. Ond wrth gwrs, eto i gyd, maen nhw'n goffod chwarae'r un gêm yn y bôn. Mae Ben Davies yn chwarae yn y nawr o Slyfera ac yn Gymro Cymraeg, ond ti'n bod, mae'r fel ti'n gweud efo, mae'r fwy o'r chwaraewyr yn dod o band. Hwna'n dy sylw, dwi'n teimlo, sut mae rhywun yn torri mas o'r cilch yma. Mae'r steddfod yn ffindo hunan. Mae'r steddfod yn ffindo hunan yn yr un lle, o ran mynd yn fwy, o ran goffod rhoi mwy o le i rai sydd yn cynnig mwy o arian. Arian sydd yn siarad, di fe. Ond mae'n cymryd dychymyg a pobl ddeallus a pobl o egwyddor. Mae cael y tri peth nid ei gilydd yn eitha bryn i feddwl am fodelau a ffyrdd newydd o wneud pethau.
Okay. So now, I'm bach fel Gary Lineker and son of football.
Well, I was just thinking back to Dyfan, how he's saying about how Swansea have engaged the community and that's where they get the strength from. But if I take it to what my area of sort of expertise is the rugby, you see that the Welsh regions have got a lot of local players playing for them. The Swansea, Ospreys have got Swansea and Neath players playing for them. You've got Cardiff Blues coming from the Valleys and City. Then you look at the teams from England, you've got the Viva Premiership, you've got half the teams foreign these days. They're either from the Southern Hemisphere, they've got Kiwis, you've got Samoans and all that. And that
Do you think that the players should be from this country? Or the country they play for?
It's definitely, you see an international level now though, you see that England are actually performing very well through the setup, but Wales actually is struggling a bit, if I'm honest, even though but in the long run, it's going to be good for the country, because Wales will have Welsh players playing for Wales, but England, you can see, already got an international player from Samoa, they've got Tuilagi playing for them, so I think that, yeah, you need key in community, but you need perhaps an outside influence to improve that team.
Talking about rugby here, croeso dwi'n ymuno sgwrs am rugby. Rugby? Anyone care about rugby? Is rhywun eisiau sôn am rugby gyda ni?
Na i fod yn controversial, I'll translate that to you, Mike. I'll be controversial. I come from the rugby heartland in a sense, from Cefneithin, Barry, Jonathan Davis and so forth. And I was raised in Rhydaman, Shane Williams. And in school, nes I gallon bol ar y rygbi. Efallach bod fi ddim yn chwarae o rygbi wrth reddf. Bod fi'n fach fel Shane, dwi ddim yn sgwar fel e, a dwi ddim yn sydyn fel e, ddim yn gloi fel e. Ond bydden ni wedi wrth y modd yn cael bach o bêl-drod. Fi'n credu falle bod beth wedi newid, oedd y cwricwlwm cenedlaethol ddim beth i nawr falle pan o'n i'n yr ysgol. Ond ers ydy'r gogledd, i fi wrth y modd y pêl-drod o'n i yn cefnogi'r Swans cynt, ond ddim mor frwd ag ydw i nawr, ac mae'n rwydd cefnogi nhw pan maen nhw lan yn y Premiership. Ond oedd Cymru yn rhoi gormod y bwysau ar rygbi. Na'r pwynt, hynny yw. Ai rygbi yw'r gêm genedlaethol neu pêl-drod.
Are we obsessed with rugby in Wales? Os da ni'n sôn gormod am rugby falle? So rhywun eisiau ddod mewn ar rugby? Fans? So rhywun yn casau rugby? Do you dislike rugby?
Na, dwi'n caru rugby. Ond pam o'n i'n ysgol, ond dwi'n symud ond mwy o bwyslais ar pêl-droed, mwy na rugby yn y curriculum. So dwi'n teimlo bod o'n cael ei stwffio lawr con gwddwch di, dim yn gogledd Cymru beth bynnag.
Ti'n meddwl dyle rugby bod ar y curriculum?
Dwi'n meddwl nhw gael genod i fewn i rugby lot mwy. Oherwydd nes i rioed cael y cyfle o gwbl, oedden nhw'n unig chwarae hoci.
More female rugby players?
Ie, dwi'n meddwl, oherwydd dwi'n meddwl os ti'n dechrau chwarae rugby pan ti'n iau, ti ddim yn fod mor ofn. Cos dwi fatha meddwl os na i chwarae rugby wan gael lladd.
Mae rugby ddo yn bwysig i cael hunaniaeth Cymru. Un ffordd mae Cymru gallu brwydro nôl nefyn, jyst dim rheolaeth gan y Saeson dros Cymru, ond un ffordd a cael nôl at Lloegr trwy cyrra nhw'n y rygbi, a mae'n ffordd da iawn.
Os eisiau mynd yn ôl at y Saeson felly?
Mae'n wastad mynd o rivalry, mae'n wastad gryd rhwng gledydd. Mae Ffrainc a Lloegr wastad gyda, mae Werddon a Lloegr wastad ni'n cael lot o rivalry yna. Mae'n dod rygbi'n ffordd ffantastig o gallu gwneud hynny ar ffordd, ffordd iach.
Okay, so rugby's a good way of getting people together?
Yeah.
Okay. Ever watched any female rugby? Women's rugby?
Oh, yeah.
Should there be more women's rugby?
Oh,
definitely. Yn ôl Gwen Lleiandel yn y fod?
Yeah, I mean, rugby, it is a collision sport more than contact. It's quite a rough game, but there's no reason why women can't play rugby. I mean, it's the same skill level, the same fitness level, same sort of mental awareness level, so yeah, why not?
Okay. So, ydyn ni'n rhy obsessed efo rugby fel gwlad, Elen?
Na, wel, fi tyn bach fel gwion y gweud y gwir, fi wedi cael yng nghodi yn y de, wel, fel mae deiniol, a wi wedi gorfod dod i hoffi pêl-droed. Achos dwi wedi gorfod eistedd neu sefyll ar ochr cae am gymaint o oriau yn yr oer fel yn watchad fy mechgyn, ond yn fwy diweddar, fy hogan 20 yn chwarae pêl-droed. A fi yn meddwl bod merched yn cael rodil efo pêl-droed, a gweud y gwir, achos maen nhw, y munud maen nhw'n cyrraedd rhyw oed, nhw ddim yn gallu chwarae mewn tîm cymysg, a wedyn maen nhw'n chwarae mewn lig gwahanol, a wedyn mae'r holl bwysles a'r sylw yn newid yn syth achos dydy pêl-droed merched ddim yn cyfri yn yr un ffordd, nag yw e? Dwi ddim yn gwybod.
Dylen ni fod yn hyrwyddo gemau eraill felly, ddim just rugby a football.
Gys ni'r sgwrs ma'n tŷ ni yn ddiweddar. Pam, oedd sôn am netball neu rhywbeth, oedd sôn am bêl-rwyd. A ni'n meddwl, pam taw pêl-droed i ni watchan, pam taw rygbi i ni watchan, a dynion yn chwarae fe, bron yn ddieithriad.
Beth sy'n ti'n watcho?
Wel, un o'r pwynt yn gwybod os fysa ni, mae'n dod nôl i rhywbeth ni wedi trafod, o'r blaen y syniad yma o'r teledu yn arwen neu o drefnwyr celfyddydau yn creu'n chwaith ni. Oedd o'r lle tasau fe mlaen, byddwn ni'n watcha ne. Hynny yw, tasau'r schedwls yn newid ac yn lle Gêm Cymru a Lloegr, neu Gêm Cymru a'r Alban tro nesaf, bydde, ti'n modd, rhywbeth hollol wahanol.
Fatha curling o beth fel ad, neu skittles.
Hynny, pwy byddai'n meddwl bydde snooker yn boblogaidd ar y teledu?
Waw, ie.
Ti'n meddwl? Dwi ddim yn gwyddi mas, dewch ar camera gloi, mae'r bel yn symud, dewch o fe mewn. Ti'n modd, ond mae'n rhyfedd, fi'n credu yn y pen draw, mae'n cymryd amser, ond mae'n nod, os ti'n gweud, a fi'n cytuno ar y ti. Ti'n os gall merchau fod un mor ffit, gall merchau fod llawn mor skillful. Wel, ond eto, gallan nhw ddim bod, neu fydden ni'n watchan nhw. Mae rai bod y rygbi dynon yn cael ei watchan, achos taw na'r rygbi gorau. Ond
os ddim eisiau rhoi mwy o gemau merched ar y teledu er mwyn dechrau codi profil nhw?
Os, yn amlwg. Os, ond dim ond pam bod chwaraeol eraill ddim yn gwybod?
Falle bod athletau merched yn chwy poblogydd fan o pobl fel Jessica Ennis, ennill y decathlon a wneud mor dda yn Olympics, bod pobl sylweddoli bod chwaraeol merched gallu bod just mor gyffroes a just mor exciting a...
So mae'r Olympics di helpu mewn ffordd?
Dwi'n meddwl, bendant ydy, ie, bendant. Sôn am chwaraeon eraill yn dod mewn, dwi wedi bod yn chwarae lot o chwaraeon gwahanol ac un sydd wedi bod yn fwy o fwy poblogaidd dwi'n sylweddoli yn Prydain ydy, sy'n clwn arno fe, Kabaddi ydy enw fe.
Be di hwnna?
Game Indian yw e, a mae fel size cwrt tennis, a mae wedi rhaid ti'n mynd draw, cyffwrdd un i'w chwaraeon nhw a rhedeg nôl i'r ochr di.
Fel dodgeball?
Bron, ond maen nhw'n gofod taclo ti, a stop y tir i fynd nôl i dy ochr di y cae, ond ti dwi'n cael neud e tra ti'n dal dy wynt. So it's going to rhedeg draw yna, dal dy wynt.
British Bulldogs?
Mae'n debyg o'n British Bulldogs, ond mae byddin Prydain di ennill cystadleuaeth y byd yna, tair gwaith ar y trot yna, felly na mae fwy o fwy poblogaidd yn Prydain.
Os na sôn bod hwnna'n dod i Gymru?
Gobeithio.
Ti eisiau dechrau tîm?
Mae yna tîm yn Bristol, dwi'n fel.
Os e?
Oes.
Be ti'n galw hwnna? Mwy eisiau cael hwnna ar y sgrin?
Kabaddi.
Kabaddi. Os na rhywun eriod i chwarae Kabaddi yma, yn i Kabaddi fans.
Sai eriod yn clywed amdano fe, ond dwi eisiau gwybod mwy. Ond i fynd nôl at pam i ni ddim yn gwylio chwaraeon menywod. Meddyliwch chi am Wimbledon nawr, a dwi wedi cael aml i sgwrs efo menywod a dynion am hwn. Lle mae watchad finals menywod yn lot mwy un tonog na watchad game dynion yn y finals.
Are they doubles?
Na, ti'n gweld. Dwi'n gweld ychydig bach yn boring, rhaid i fi ddeud. Dwi well gan ei weld y cyflymder a well gan ei weld yr...
Be di hoff, sport?
Fi?
Ie.
O ran i neud e, tan i wylio fe. Wy'n prynu amser fan hyn, ydych chi weid? I'm buying time here in my answer.
Has anybody got a favourite alternative sport here? Like quantum physics or whatever the name of the thing was.
It wasn't quantific.
Kabaddi. We've just been talking about kabaddi, an unusual sport that Daniel seems to know a lot about, and he's keen for it to make splash in Wales. Kabaddi.
Sorry, o'n i really meddwl bod Ellen, when discussing Wimbledon there, I really thought you were going to say, because for example with tennis, I think you were going to disagree with me and say, when watching tennis, watching the women's tennis is far better because there are longer rallies. But you actually said the reverse, and you said you preferred the men, which was quicker. Mae tennis dyn ni, mae mor sydyn. Ti'n meddwl, mae'r es ar ôl es. Ti'n meddwl, ond na, Kabaddi, sa'n gwybod. Os merched yma ar y Kabaddi?
Dwi'n gweld pam lai, siŵr bod hwnna.
Wow, hwnna'n ci enfawr, sorry.
There's no reason at all why women don't and can't play the same sports as men. What I was raising is, but why don't we watch it then? Why isn't it on TV? If they certainly are equal.
So you're sending out a message to the head of Sky Sports or something?
Sa'n gwybod, neu ni gyd fi'n awgrymu. Falle bod wedi... Mae Elen Wen wedi cytuno. Bod wedi mod gyffroes.
Dechrau petition mewn ffordd i gael mwy o chwaraeon merched ar y teledu. Do you know the size of the thing now? Sorry, I was very distracted by the size of the dog. Has anyone got any pets? Wow, it's the size of a horse. Horse riding.
Horse riding. I can't contribute to that conversation, but I can contribute to the dog conversation.
Okay.
And the fact that dogs look like their owners, but we won't go down that road.
You're very welcome to join the table of talk, the Talkaoke.
Please join us. We have some empty chairs.
We have been talking about everything from the Olympics to a strange new sport that I still can't remember its name, to whether St David's Day should be a national holiday. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. There is no limit. Does anybody have any burning desire to talk about anything in particular now that I've given you the option to change the subject if you want? Or we can go back to the dog.
Well, one thing that I find interesting is that if you look on Facebook, you will see loads and loads of pictures of cats, and you can YouTube, you'll see lots of videos of cats. But the number of dogs on Facebook and YouTube is very, very small.
Okay, I'm going to come back to that after I've done a whip round of names for our new member.
Ellen.
Dyfan.
Daniel.
Gwion.
Who have we got here?
What's your name? Maman.
Oh, beautiful.
Tando.
And excellent. I'm back to you.
Mikey.
Mikey,
I just want to know why that. Does anyone have any ideas why that is? Because I think the number of dogs is roughly the same as the number of cats. But
for pets?
Dogs, yeah. Dogs don't appear on the internet as much as cats. Why is that?
So you think there should be more dogs on the internet?
Well, I'm surprised at the number of cats. I don't know why.
Table of talk, Talkaoke, Trafioke yn y Gymraeg. Cofiwch fedrwch chi dechrau sgwrs yn Cymraeg neu Saesneg. Trafioke. Mikey. Okay, we're switching up. Okay.
Mae Can i Gymru hen yma.
Oh, yes.
Thoughts? You were just, Tanda was just telling me about my dad was on Heno the other week, and he yn chwarae gitar.
Ti'n celebrity?
Na. Dwi'n nabod lot o bobl sydd wedi ymgeisio i Can i Gymru blwyddyn yma, a dwi ddim, dath rhywun o'n nhw gael drwad.
Na fi. Y rai o fi.
Ie.
Shocking.
So, blwyddyn yma, maen nhw'n trio wneud o lot mwy cool a mwy ifanc. Be mae pob meddwl am hyn? Oedden ni'n caru'r ffaith bod Can i Gymru chydig bach yn
Ydy Can i Gymru yn digon cool? Ydy o'n bwysig cael music cool?
Ydy o'n bwysig cael Can i Gymru erbyn hyn?
Mae'n Eurovision ma to.
Fi'n deud hynny yn rhannol mwyn twymo'r ddadl falle, ond eto na. Hynny yw, yn tu ni yn eistedd lawr i weld Can i Gymru, a dim bod fi'n pasio'r byc nawr ac yn dweud to Leri, ond fydd Leri yn cadw sgôr, a wedyn bydd rhywun yn ffonio. Ond, sa'n gwybod, ni gyd yn cwyno. Mae'r pwynt mae'n un o'r pethau yna, bob blwyddyn ni'n cwyno am Can i Gymru, bob blwyddyn ni'n gweud mae'r caneuon yn ofnadw, ond eto i gyd, ni'n siarad am y pethau, ti'n gwybod bod yn dod yna. Mae'n un o'r pethau yna newn ni watchan. Oce, felly bod yna tym bach, fel yr Eurovision, ni'n ôl ar yr Eurovision, ond wy'n credu, hynny, mae'n rwydd gweud, a dylen ni ddim gweud fel rhywun sydd yn rhyw hanner honni gweithio maes teledu. Mae'n anodd wneud y pethau yma, ond fi'n meddwl am y peth yn hollol wahanol. falle peidio ffilmio fe rhyw flwyddyn, neud canu gwmni, ond peidio ffilmio fe.
Os na rhywun fan hyn wedi cystadlu mewn cystadleuaeth cerddorol, has anybody here competed in a musical competition or otherwise? Steddfod.
Ie. Ac dyna di'r peth ynddo. Mae'r henredd eisteddfodol yn dal yno ni fel pobl, dwi'n meddwl. Yn anodd ofnadwy cael gwared ohono fo. Mae yna bethau da i ddeud amdano fo, bethau drwg i ddeud amdano fo. Dwi'n sôn am Eisteddfod Genedlaethol achos mae hwnna wedi tyfu fwy o wyl a llai o bwyslais ar gysadlu. Ond, da ni yn licio cael rhyw fath o linyn mesur ar ymdrechion pitwn ni'n hunain. Fy hun, dwi'n mylicio'r busnes gysadlu yma o gwbl de. Achos bod fi wedi gwneud gormod o hwnnw pan o'n i fach.
A
dim llawer o lwyddiant o dweud y gwir. O'n i wastad dod yn ail i rywun.
Oh dear. Devon has a chip on his shoulder. Competition then, is competition a good thing necessarily? Is there too much competing with young people today? Or has anybody got any thoughts on the Steddfod?
Depends if you're good or not, you know. I was never any good in competition, so I never really liked competition.
What did you compete in?
Not very good at sports. I still play football, and our football team came bottom of the league. I was a goalkeeper, and I let in a lot of goals. But yeah, I think sometimes people take it a bit. I like competition, but you can take it too seriously, can't you? And I think we do that now, especially, with Premiership football and all that kind of stuff. I do find it a little bit over competitive. Is being competitive a good thing then, or for?
I think it's done a world of, it's done harm to Welsh folk singing actually.
Okay.
Competition, because when you're in a competition, you're not really true to yourself. You want to please those critics or those adjudicators who sit there in judgment on you. You gear your performance to their standards instead of being true to yourself. There's too much of that going on, which has meant that the folk singing in Wales has developed into a kind of almost like a concert performance, a very refined way of these natural songs, raising out of the folk tradition in Wales, are not sung in that folky way. They're sung in more operatic way almost, which has almost killed the tradition because of the Eisteddfod, I think.
Okay, so how do we bring back traditional Welsh folk singing? Sgen rhywun syniadau?
Well, I'm going back to competition. I think competition is not bad in a way. It all depends on how you push yourself. There is a bit of people who sort of live or would be the parents who push their parents to a certain limit, which is not okay. I feel like competition as in seeing how you can go yourself, or how you can, like Eisteddfod. The other thing which I like about Eisteddfod is it gives these young children an opportunity that everyone will do something. Yeah, everyone has got a part. Will have to sort of stand there and say something, even if it means hallelujah or whatever. You've got that, opportunity. It might not be exactly the competition which will take you to a certain level, but it will give you confidence to say, well, I can, The
Eisteddfod, it's obviously a very Welsh thing. Have you come across it yet at all, Mikey, or how much
I've heard the rumours and myth about it, but I don't know any facts about this at all. Or is it a kind of poetry competition?
Does anyone want to come in and fill in Mikey on what the Eisteddfod is? Gwen Llian, you know.
There's two. There's the youth one, which is for under 25s, which is Steddfod yr Urdd, and then there's the Steddfod Genedlaethol. And it's all sorts of different competitions. There's like the drama medal, there is a poetry bit, there's singing, instruments, all sorts. And basically for a whole week we congregate in a massive tent in somewhere. And there's a youth area where there's loads of different gigs and stuff. And it's quite a bit, it's the first week of August that, and it's really good. It's fun.
Why do you think the Eisteddfod has never taken off anywhere else, or has it?
Yeah, actually said that people. I agree with Dyfan regarding canu gwerin and dawnsio gwerin and a lot of other things as well. competition and that sort of competition can stifle the true art form. On the other hand, I agree with you. I'm sitting on the fence here in the sense that life is competitive by its own nature, and having kids again, you know, I'm drawn to both arguments regarding this. Mae eisiau ni gystadlu, a mae eisiau ni magu'n plant i allu gystadlu, and eto chi'n gweithio'ch plant ar 1 munud, you tell the kids, it's the taking part that's important, but once they're in a competition, the essence of a competition is to win the competition, you know, so mae'n un anodd, and mae'n rhywbeth Cymreig iawn, ond mi'n siŵr bod yna bobl tu fas i Gymru, byddai'n neud i gyddus iawn o'r Steddfod, ac yn meddwl, waw, chi'n mynd i ddwrnod fel Steddfod Cylch neu Steddfod Sir neu Steddfod, a gweld plant o bob math yn neud gwahanol bethau, ond fi'n cytuno hefyd, sy'n byd o math na gweld can werin yn cael ei chanu mewn ffordd eisteddfodol. A wedi achos bod falle bod y canu gwerin yng Nghymru ddim mor gryf a gallai fe fod, fel mae yn Iwerddon neu fel mae mewn gwledydd eraill.
Ydy Cymru'n lle cystadleuol?
Dwi'n credu bod Cymru'n fwy cystadleuol. Mae cystadleuaeth wrth rhaid lot o bethau. Dwi'n dechreuodd y stomps, ond nhw mor wahanol i'r talwrn, ac eto i gyd cystadlu yw'r stomp hefyd. Hynny yw, mae eisiau noson farddonol fel la, lle, neu sy'n rhaid fod yn farddoniaeth, lle just do your own thing math o beth. Just, os gen rhywun gerdd, os gen rhywun gan, hynny yw, ond na, mae'n fel sefyn haws ac yn creu strwythyr i roi cystadleuaeth. A os rhaid cael ei bob tro. Falle bydde fe ddim yn digwydd heb y cystadlu, wy'n gwybod.
So rhywun eisiau dod mewn ar hwnna? Does anyone want to come in on that? Ellen?
Dwi ddim yn gwybod, dwi chydig bach ar y ffens gyda hyn hefyd, a dwi'n ymwybodol bod cystadleuaeth yn rhywbeth iach mewn sawl ffordd, ond hefyd mae'n gallu bod yn llyffethau'r ar gredigrwydd dwi'n meddwl. Dwi hefyd yn ymwybodol o rai ysgolion.
Very welcome to join.
Yeah.
You're very welcome to join the Talkaoke table. We are starting discussions in Welsh and English here. And we'll do a quick round of names for you since we have a new member to the table.
Ellen.
Gwion.
Tando.
Gwenllian.
Mikey.
Dyfan.
And I'm Ellen. And yes, of course, the most important member here. We have been talking about everything from St David's Day being a bank holiday to the point of the London Olympics, and now we've moved on to whether Wales is a competitive place and the Eisteddfod and its place in that. Did you want to jump in and finish what you were saying?
Yeah, I think we've moved on a little bit from that now, so that's okay.
Okay, has anybody else got a burning desire to pick up on anything we've touched on so far? Is everyone warm enough? Right, let's jump in with Mikey.
Well, I think there's a kind of myth of competition that it's always good and it's always the way to, you know, that if you've got it's this idea that if you've got competition then you're always going to be the best, and I don't think it's actually true.
You're very welcome
Come and sit
to
down
join.
here after talk if you don't want to.
It's okay. No one's going to make you say anything. Right, okay, what can we pick up on? Yes, Gwenllian.
I've got a question.
Okay.
If you're how do you feel like moving into Wales? What do you think about the Eisteddfod? Is it different to anything that you know from Zimbabwe? Or?
To be honest, where I come from, there isn't this kind of thing where, you know, and there's lots of, I would say competition, if you know what I mean. Like, people are competing to be better for themselves. Even if life is so hard for everyone, people are. The other thing which I liked about Wales compared to my country is, as I look back with my children, they go to Scotland, is they're given that little opportunity to present themselves, if you know what I mean. Of which, when I was growing up, you couldn't have done that yourself if I wasn't a bright kid in school. So, because of, if you're not good enough, you know, you're removed from the picture. You can't do anything. You can't do it. So you know, I've always felt like they never gave us, you know, or our generation, you know, in Africa, never gave an opportunity to.
You think it's important for people to be able to give them that chance to perform and boost their confidence and so on?
It could be not only performing, it could be just something which is sort of seen as
sorry.
I think I'm finished.
Okay, lovely. I'll move on to Mikey.
I think that's really important because I think as I was saying yesterday, performance is a part of life, and everyone has to perform in one way or another. So everyone should get an opportunity to be a performer, and that's really important as a sort of educational experience.
Okay. Does anybody think that performance isn't that important when we think of schools and everything else that you have to learn?
I think one of the problems, un o'r problemau ydy, os da ni'n galw fe'n perfformio, mae rhai pobl yn cael ofn.
Yeah.
Mikey was saying that, we perform in everything we do, really, and it's part of, it's what we do when it's a public persona. But I think sometimes we call it performance and people will say, no, I don't perform. I don't go on the stage. I don't sing. I'm not a performer. And I don't know where that's come from, really. And I think sometimes when I come across people sometimes who'll say, oh, I can't sing. Dwi'n methu canu. Na, fedrem canu. No, I can't come to the choir or join a choir. I can't sing. And you delve deeper and you find out that actually they weren't good enough to be in the choir in school that was competing in the Eisteddfod, perhaps. So there's... And that stays with somebody for a long time. And I think that's sad, really.
So you think everyone should be given an opportunity to perform? And let's come into that.
I think this is the importance of drama lessons in schools and drama sessions elsewhere too. Hopefully Pontio will be creating those opportunities. But, drama does give you that sense of confidence on stage that will... Okay, you may not want to be an actor or an actress, but at least that confidence on stage will help you in the rest of life. Interviews, presenting yourself to all sorts of people for the rest of your life.
Let's do a quick whip round of names again, since we've got new members at the table. Dyfan? Oh,
Dyfan.
Sorry, that's your name.
Dyfan, yeah,
don't wear it out.
James, do we? James. David.
Ellen.
Gwion.
Mabon.
Beautiful.
Tando.
Gwenllian.
Mikey?
Paul.
Oh, lovely. Okay, so do we have any performers at the table who want to defend the right to perform?
To agree with the performance, be it singing or acting or dancing, isn't it a means to an end? Isn't it a means of getting on a stage or winning competition? It's a means of expressing oneself. And beth sydd gallu mynd ar goll rhywbeth fel Steddfod, or even in schools, this emphasis on reaching some sort of standard or some sort of level. Yes, of course, if you're a dancer, if you're a singer, if you're a poet, you want to better yourself if you want to hone your art. But the starting point is expressing oneself through whatever medium, and singing, especially in Wales. I have some problems with singing. Obviously, if you heard me singing, I have a lot of problems with singing. Ond ran plant ni hynny, o syniad mae pawb yng Nghymru yn gallu canu. If you're Welsh, singing is in your blood. And everyone in Wales, especially on St David's Day, we can all sing. Well, I think that's true, but what does that mean? Fi'n cofio'n ifanc iawn, bod yn canu mewn cor. Mae Elen di clywed fi'n canu mewn cor, so mae'n gwybod bod hyn yn wir. A'r athrawes yn neud... Just mimia'r gan yma. Just mime this bit. And fine, but it really dented my confidence, perhaps. It's a good thing, because Ond mae pawb, fi wedi siarad â rhywun am hyn, mae un o'n plant ni, I'm being a bit careful here. One of our 4 boys. They all sort of sing, okay, in school, as kids do. But one of them, mae un o'n nhw ddim fel sy'n cadw... A fi wedi holi rhywun am hyn. Ond gweud, o, fe ddawe, os yw eisiau canu. Sa'n ni moyn ei ganu yn unrhyw le yn fwy na ti ni. Ond fi'n cyd bod e'n taro fe weithiau bod e'n gwybod pan mae'n canu fel criw arall. A wedyn sut mae rhywun yn hynny yw, mae'n bwysig bod neb yn gweithio fe, ti ffili canu, ar hyn o bryd, felly, ti ddim yn canu'r math yma o beth.
It's too avant-garde. James.
Iawn. I think there's lots of stuff that we learn through performing there. Troy wneud pethau, and if you just think that it's only for actors and singers, I mean, the first time I ever did a presentation in front of an audience, you're performing. Whether it's a business presentation, whether it's sales, doesn't matter. You're performing. But you learn through doing that. You learn something about yourself. And I think everyone should have that chance. Actually, it's good to dry run that sometimes. Most of us don't have the chance to dry run it. Suddenly we're standing in front of, a bunch of people, and it's, oh damn, this is going to cost me if I get it wrong. So I think it's really important. I was in school, it was sports that did me. No one ever picked. I was the 13th person who was always picked in the team. So I never had any confidence in sports. It was the same sort of thing, you know. So I always went around thinking, I'm no good at sports, because I was always the guy who was picked last. And I think sometimes it's unfortunate that people don't get the message that actually this is for everybody. You know, we may have different ways of doing things, but I found actually having, I'm not a great actor, but actually having a chance to maybe, like even just do a presentation, the way you hold your body, the way you speak, the way you present yourself can make a huge difference to the audience, really. So I'm very much in favour of learning through doing.
Performer at school as well, or?
Well, I played guitar, but
rock and roll.
The rock and roll. Yeah.
Anybody else play any instruments around the table?
Right, I just want to bring in my experience of going to Ireland, because in Ireland, if you go to a pub, well, for me, they'll come up to me and they go, "So you're English," and they just start talking to you. But also the other good thing they do in pubs in Ireland is that they do a thing on a Friday or Saturday night where everyone does a little turn, and everyone in the pub's got to do it. And it's always worth having a poem if you can't sing like me, or tell a joke, having a little poem or something prepared, or having a joke, just Google a joke or something, because it comes to your turn and you've got to do something. I really, really like that.
Are you a good joke teller?
That's a matter of opinion.
Just to repeat myself, I possibly said it in Welsh earlier on. That's what I was trying to say, really. That possibly, although in Wales we claim to be the singers and performers and musicians and poets in particular, there isn't that many nights like that on the whole. You don't go into pubs in Wales and find musicians in the corner or poets in the corner. Possibly.
Is that because our pubs are dying?
Well, no, I think it's more to do with the fact that our Eisteddfods are thriving, possibly. Okay. And that this emphasis on competition, and that, playing your instrument or writing your poem, yet again, I'm sure people coming into Wales would be envious of Wales as well, and the poetry we've got here and the evenings we've got here. But that's a very good point, Mikey.
Okay, yes, good Leanne.
Come to Bethesda if you want to find musicians in the corner of the pub.
Yeah. You're from Bethesda? Yes. Anybody else on pubs, music, or...
Dwi'n meddwl bod traddodiad yna, bod Meiki'n sôn amdano fo, sef bobl jyst yn codi fyny ac yn perfformio. Mi oedd gennym ni traddodiad felly, stalwm, a'i enw fo oedd Noson Lawen. Mae fy mam yn cofio bod mewn ysgolion Ha Plaid Cymru yn y 50au, lle oedd pobl jyst yn hel yn y neuadd. Oedd hyn cyn bod pobl yn yfed lot yn y Steddfod amser yny, ond oedd nhw'n jyst yn hel mewn neuadd leol. Ac oedd yn arweinydd yn deud jokes ac yn nabod pawb, a wedyn, gna di rhywbeth rwan, a wedyn gna di rhywbeth rwan, erbyn y diwedd y noson, oedd y nosweithio yn mynd ymlaen tan 1, 2 o gloch y bore, pobl jyst yn improvisio ac yn codi ar ei traed ac yn gwneud stwff felly, a Noson Lawen oedd enw, wrth gwrs mae hwnnw wedi cael ei heijacio rwan gen y teledu i noson ffurfiol grand mewn ffordd, ond dyna bi oedd o Noson Lawen ystalwm.
Wel, dwi'n dod o Loegr yn reiddiol, ond dwi'n meddwl dyna rhywbeth da ni wedi colli yn Lloegr, a di o traddodiad o actually perfformio ac yn gwneud pethau fel mewn grwpiau. Dwi'n meddwl rhywbeth arall sydd yn bwysig i mi ydy cymdeithasu. Mae cymdeithasu yn pwysig iawn. Dach chi'n siarad Cymraeg? Meeting together is really important. In Wales, I think this kind of notion of getting together and doing stuff, and yes, I think sometimes competition can put too much of an emphasis on winning. I think that can be a problem sometimes, people get this kind of thing, if I didn't win the Eisteddfod, I didn't come second, then I didn't do well. I think that's a problem. But on the other hand, I do think that the getting together, socialising, talking, sharing, exchanging, meeting other people, sharing ideas is really what keeps society together. I think it's really important. So, yeah.
Lovely. Anybody got any other thoughts on the Eisteddfod or the High Street or pubs we touched on as well? Are pubs the right place to be performing anyway?
Yeah, some of my favourite gigs happen in the Llangollen in Bethesda because it's really small and it's free, and so it brings music to everyone.
Okay.
So I think it's one of the best places.
Oh my gosh. Behind you, in case you're wondering as well, a performance artist is setting up for a performance at 12 o'clock. Mikey.
Well, maybe that's a suggestion that maybe the street is a good place to perform as well, because it might be a bit cold today. It is a place where, you know, everyone's walking about, and
do we need more on our high street then? I mean, this is unusual, but what do we think of the high street in general? Bangor High Street? Anyone?
Well, you know, I've been involved in Pontio for the last 5 years, and you know, I'm trying to find spaces within Bangor to perform. I'm quite jealous of Carnarvon, and they've got a proper square, you know, in the middle of town, which is a natural, you know, gathering point. Here, it's not such a big gathering point. This the clock here, because Bangor is a bit of like a narrow snaking down the valley with no natural sort of central gathering point. This is good, except for you can't put anything very, very big here because the seating is fixed onto the pavements, so it's not a free open space. You know, it's a matter of talking to councillors to impress on them the importance of just holding sort of live performance events, but sort of markets as well, and gathering other social meeting points within Bangor. I think there should be a bit more, you know, improvement in that area in Bangor, I think.
Okay. As an aside, this is the longest high street in the UK. Fact fans. What do you think of our high street then, Paul?
I'm quite surprised to hear that it's the longest high street in the UK. It's not
really
your mind. That much going on it. It's
is that because there aren't enough shops?
Well, loads seem to be shutting down often.
What would you see on the high street if you designed it?
Like everyone was saying, an open space for activities of sorts. Or,
okay. Anybody else got any ideas for what we should have on our high street?
Well, if I took a picture of this high street, say here, with the clock, with Boots, H&B, Barclays, Debenhams, William Hill, Lloyds, HSBC, that's what I can see, Phones for You. It could be anywhere in the UK or Ireland, for that matter. And it's just so generic, and that's what's happened to all of our high streets, I think.
There's the one thing that sets it apart. There is some Welsh to be seen. You've got beauty and harddwch written there, fferyllfa and pharmacy.
That's a good subject.
So I agree with you, Mikey. I could see where you were going with that, because it's true of most town centres in Britain now. But that's one thing. If an alien landed here and looked around, he'd say, okay, we're in Britain, but we're in Wales because they've got harddwch and fferyllfa. So it comes back to language. Not that everything comes back to language, but it's one of the things that sets us apart. And perhaps we should do more of that here in Bangor.
Is it important that we have signs in both languages? For example, the King of Trainers there is just in one.
Well, after what I've said, I obviously believe so. Just for that reason, it sets us apart to begin with, and it elevates the language to to give it the same status as the English. Yeah, for sure. What we don't want either, is to have a country with all the signs in Welsh and English, and no one speaking the Welsh. You see a lot of Irish signs in Dublin, but you won't hear much Irish. So,
okay. James?
Now, when I went to Kuwait once, I've only been there once.
Sorry.
I noticed that they had all their signs. This is interesting. Even things like next, they had in Arabic the word next, so Nessa in Cymraeg os lici di. It was very interesting. You had to know your brands to know your way around, because you had to recognise the colours and so on. What I think, and it sort of ties in with the language, is what makes us different and unique. What makes us different? I remember the first time I came to Bangor, and I was walking down the street, and I was from Oxford at the time, and I was working in a 98% Welsh-speaking company. And my kids had come in, so we didn't really know anything about very much. And I heard all sorts of people from different ethnic backgrounds speaking Welsh, not just, shall we say, indigenous folks. And that was really exciting, and it probably struck me more as an English person coming in than it would now. But at the time, it was, wow, this is incredible. So I like, what I'm really going on this is the thought, is that we need to make these environments different, exciting, full of vibrancy, you know, but all being the same is a terrible thing. I think it's horrible when the high streets become, you know, every town, every place. I think what we're seeing, there's a lot of changes going on in the high street to do with the way people use the high street. And if we're going to have any vibrancy here, then we need to find reasons why people are going to come into the high street, because otherwise it's going to be charity shops, it's going to be pound shops, it's going to be cash converters, and the big names, they are going. So, but what we're going to be left with if we're not careful.
You talk about the high street there. Do you know if it's still the case that we have this the youth thing? They're not allowed out after dark or something.
I think so. Yes, I think I believe so. It was called a curfew. It wasn't actually a curfew. It was a what do they call it? Some kind of, I can't remember the name of it was.
Yeah. Does that affect the high street, do you think? The fact that we're not letting our young people...
I don't go out at night. I'm too scared.
Too scared to go out after dark. We have a new member to the table. Let's do a whip round from Daniel.
Yeah, I'm Daniel.
James.
Paul.
Mikey.
Gwenllian.
Sean.
And I'm Ellen. Welcome, Sean. We have discussed everything from St David's Day. Oh, sorry.
I've forgotten by now. I was Gwion last time.
That's Gwion.
Persona up or something.
Fantastic. How often do you visit our high street?
I'm down here quite often, to be honest. Yeah. You know, we've got, because I come from the streets, you know, I'm one of the sabbatical officers. We've got, you know, we do quite a lot of community work. You know, we had the flash mob here not that long ago over there, where our beloved president made a complete fool of himself, which is still doing the rounds on YouTube and Facebook if anyone's interested. You know, we do come down here quite a bit and try and get involved with some community things as well as just the university ones as well.
Okay, brilliant. Oh, go on, Liam.
I've just been up to Chorlton in Manchester, and their high street is amazing. It's all independent shops. There's like a vegan cooperative and stuff like that. And I go up to Chorlton just to go around the shops, and I wish that there was more high streets. I know it's middle class hippie heaven, but I wish there was more high streets like that around here, because it's such a pleasure and it's so different going up there. So I don't know if anyone has any thoughts on why this has happened to our high streets.
Wrap it up?
No, 10 minutes. You've got 10 minutes.
Oh, I've got 10 minutes. I can keep you all talking 10 minutes.
Thoughts?
Thoughts? Discuss.
Rent. High rents.
Are we just complaining in general about rent? I know.
Well, as
isn't it terrible about rent?
Well, rent is terrible. We all have to pay it. The nature of shopping has changed. The footfall's probably different. What people buy is different because of out of town. So, as I said, I think the need is to get a real vibrant place going for there to be a reason for people to come in, which will make the footfall higher and make it viable. I think the shopkeepers, independent shopkeepers, are quite squeezed heavily in terms of what they pay. Things are going up and so on. So I think there is a money thing in there somehow. Bangor, I did a survey a couple of years ago on this in terms of vacancies, and Bangor was about national average. Holyhead was not good. Llandudno, actually, surprisingly, you might think it was good. It wasn't wonderful either. But Bangor was sort of kind of in the middle-ish, surprisingly. So we've still got some life to hang on to. So let's be positive. Glass is half full and all that. So.
Anyone want to chip in on rent, landlords, or the high street?
I think the biggest problem is that in North Wales, small businesses can't survive on the high street, and not that this is a good thing, but the big companies don't necessarily want to bother. Their money's better spent elsewhere, so you've got neither end of the spectrum wanting to contribute much to the area.
So what's the answer then? To lower the rents? Or?
I don't have the answer. I don't know.
Does anyone have the answer? How we can get more independent people on the high street?
Local people have to go to independent shops. Because when I was in Chorlton the other day, there was a sweet shop and it was full of local people taking their children there after school. So here you take them to Spa or something, but there you do support your local shop. So that's the only way we can change things, is if we go to our independent retailers and really support them.
Okay.
Were they affluent, these local people? Were they affluent? Were they, you know, people with more money?
It's a street with a vegan co-op on it, cooperative, so yes, it was quite middle class, hippie.
Okay.
One thing they do down in Brixton in London is they've got a Brixton pound, which you can only spend in the local area. So I think that would be really useful to have like a Bangor pound, and And also another thing, I think, you know, the council could potentially help by saying any small local shop, we won't charge them rates below a certain turnover or something like that, just to make it easier for small. There's so many things you can do, and I think that is really a really good way to encourage the, you know, a buzz on the high street is to do things like that.
Okay. Un aelod newydd o fod, one new member to the table, so quick whip round.
Dyfan.
James.
Iola.
Daniel.
Gwion.
Sean.
Gwellian.
Mikey?
Paul.
Excellent. Okay, we're talking and discussing the Bangor Pound. So rhywun eisiau jump mewn? Daniel.
For these small local businesses and things, I think the better way for local businesses to get sort of recognised is not by opening their own shop. As a great example, the Innocent Smoothies. The group of students who started that, they start making like honest life smoothies and selling it quite cheap. And instead of actually making their own company in a way that they sell just their products, they managed to get their products into the big shops, you know, the Tesco's, Asda, Summerfield. They're all sort of stocking these now. And Innocent has now become so big, so popular, they've had to increase their prices, and that's how they make their profit. So I think rather than try and open your own shop, I think it's better to try and get your product into the bigger shops and sort of like use it as like a
or
host.
Online?
Or online, yeah.
How's that going to affect our high street? Okay.
Pass out.
Innocent Smoothies.
Not as innocent anymore.
What? Not horse meat, surely not.
No. The high street, mae'n un anodd yn diwedd. Mae beth o ti'n gweud, mae rhaid i ni iwsio'r siop yma, ond na pham o'n i'n gofyn ydyn nhw'n bobl gyfoethog, that's why I was asking you if they were affluent or not. Life, people, you know, we do find it easy to go to the big shops, and I'm believing one thing up here or here and doing a different thing. So, dwi'n yn gwybod beth yw'r ateb. Hynny yw, mae'n fywyd, mae'n gret gweld Pontio yn defnyddio siop sydd... Wel, fi'n gwybod sy'n eisiau siarad am Pontio. Bod nhw'n llenwi siop. Hynny yw, pwy bynnag fyddech chi. Mae'n gret gweld rhyw fywyd na. Ti'n modd?
Oh, sorry, yeah, Daniel. Yeah.
I had an idea. Well, I carried it through actually. I did a kind of performance event in empty shops. It was a Christmas thing that I did about 4 years ago. I was trying to get the owners of the empty shops to cooperate in this. It was just a performance, a potted pantomime, 5-minute pantomime in a shop window. I was trying to get the owners to be interested in it, and there was one shop, it was a lingerie shop actually, it had closed down, and trying to get hold of the owner of the shop. I managed to track him down in Israel, and he was about to go to a funeral in Israel, and I was saying, please can we, borrow your shop for 2 weeks, but he refused. Well, do you want to lease my shop for 6 months? No, just 2 weeks to put life in your empty shop window. It won't cost you anything. We'll give you a small contribution, and Bob's your uncle. No. He didn't want to know. So that's typical, I suppose, of the situation here, where you don't know who is the owner and who are the landlords and who are the agents for any building around here.
Okay. Anybody else want to jump in, or should we try and wrap up for the main event? Final thoughts. Ti eisiau jumpio mewn, Iola? Da ni wedi sôn am pob dim o dydd Gwyl Dewi a dathlu hwnna fel Gwyl y Banc, trwy Gan i Gymru, trwy'r Olympics, Mae yna fath o ryw cofnod gen ni lan na. A nawr i'r High Street a demise of. Summaries?
Stryd fawr.
Na i ddechrau efo chdi, actually.
Vote with your feet a cerwch i'r siop o bach. Dwi ddim wedi mynd fewn i Tesco's yn Bethesda, dwi'n gobeithio ni yna weithio.
Rock on. Sean?
Ie, cytuno o Gwynllian i fod yn honest, vote with your feet a cefnogi'r busnesau lleol.
Fantastic. Bion?
Bod yn hyderus fel mae'r gwr wedi dweud yn yr hyn sy'n ymwneud ni'n unigryw fel Cymru, ac os ydym ni'n iwsio iaith busnes, dyna'r unique selling point mewn ffordd, a dyna ddylen ni weld yn y siop yma.
Fantastic. Iola, eisiau jumpio mewn?
Dwi'n meddwl bod rhywun yn elwa o ddod i siop i stryd fawr fel hyn. Mae'n fwy na jyst profiad o brynu nhw i dde. Ti'n cymdeithasu, ti'n gweld pobl, ti'n sylwi ar bethau, ti'n gweld rhyw bobl yn dawnsio fo telyn. Mae'n dipyn fwy difyr na mynd i Tesco.
Ie, fantastic. James?
Y peth bwysig y fedrwn ni wneud i the most important thing we can do, the cefnogi, the pobl lleol and gwario and lleol, local people spending locally. That's the biggest contribution. And I like Bristol do the same thing as you were talking about earlier. They have a Bristol pound, which you can only spend in Bristol. And I think that's a good thing. And I think we need to look into other currencies, other ways of rewarding, And actually on the student side, I think it was really great that there was some kind of initiative a wee while ago to get, the students and members of staff spending in the local high street. Anything that we can do like that, I think, is going to make a really big contribution to the city.
Lovely. Dyfan?
Ie, cytuno. Dwi'n siopa dwi'n euog fy hun, ond mewn gwirion, mae yna bethau fel yr scandal cig yma rwan, sy'n dechrau gorfodi pobl i fynd i gygyddion bach lleol yn hytrach na dibynnu ar archfarchnadoedd diegwyddor sydd yn just yn lebelu cig yn y ffordd anghywir. Felly, falle bod pethau fel hyn, mae pobl yn sydyn yn sylweddoli gwerth, gwerthwyr bach lleol.
Let's keep horse meat for phase 2.
Beth arall fydd pobl wneud i helpu di trio tyfu lot o bwyd i hunan, trio creu prosiecta fewn cymunedau i cadw yn lleol, yn lle gorfod prynu gen cwmnïau mawr.
Lovely. Any final thoughts from you, Mikey?
I think you need to get under the hot air blower because you must be frozen by now. I mean, I just think that, there's lots of things. We just need to encourage each other to get things happening. And, it's got to happen here. And it's just a shame, I guess, that the shops are not owned and run locally. And that's probably why it's so difficult to get that buzz going. Yeah. Not that it isn't happening, but, it makes it more difficult, doesn't it?
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Byddwn ni'n ôl am 1:00. We'll be back at 1. Croeso I chi ymuno primi. Eat your heart out, Jerry Springer, eh?